Hey there, Reverend Sully, Eric O'Sullivan, ordained on the internet. The caveat, as always, please do not burn your hands holding on to my hot takes. If you do, well, that's on you, pal. It's Sunday, so that means it's time for the Sunday sermon with Reverend Sully. I've made some freshly brewed coffee, some delicious Tanzanian peaberry available from my friend Dell at Dell's Coffee Roasters. I'll leave a link in his description. His website's now open and available to take orders, and they make great holiday gifts. He's got actually a gift box that comes with a t-shirt that you'll be seeing more and more on these videos, and a coffee mug, and your choice of one of his delicious blends or his hand-curated and locally recently roasted coffee beans from across the world. It's a magical mystery tour. Seriously, he's rocking. He's a rock and roll drummer, and man, does he serve up a good cuppa. Darn, this is a darn good cup of coffee. It's Sunday, so that means it's time for the Sunday sermon, and let's get spiritual, okay? This is a great place to put our aspirations and our hope and our dreams and our faith. I mean, my biggest complaint with modern culture, I guess, is that activism culture is very well intended, but along with that comes its shadow, the cancel culture, which by its own definition is pretty atheistic. Therefore, it's missing a vital component: forgiveness. There's just something about it that to be fully anti-Christian, I mean, you don't get anti-Jewish or anti-Islamic. You'll get consequences for that, okay? But you can be anti-Christian all you want. I don't buy that. My family is all Catholic. We're Irish Catholics. I'm the black sheep. And remember, black sheeps are important to the herd and to the shepherd, because it's not about being different. It's so they can keep track of the herd. You can get one black sheep for every 100. You can scan the eye and say, "Oh, I've got 4 black sheep out there. Pretty much my herd's all there. I got no strays." Black sheep is a very mishandled metaphor. But yeah, it's important with everything going on in the world, with all the injustices and with the climate and with pandemics and everything, to have a sense of organized activism. Sure, I agree with that. I think that things get handled on a local level, and when there's enough locality, it adjoins and becomes statewide, and then it becomes nationwide. I have a great example of this in my home state, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We have, for the past 30 years, since Governor Michael Dukakis ran for president and lost against George Bush, the first George Bush, we basically had Republican governors in what we consider a blue state, in a real power sharing, in a real balance of voices and representation, a true representation, that we have conservative voices and we're a pretty blue state. We're a pretty downright liberal at times. And I think we're a really good example of that, of that balance. What happened in the mid-90s was this, though. There was absolutely no traction on a nationwide smoking ban. And part and parcel because of the lobbyists. And, the cigarette companies have a lot of money and have a lot of power to go along with that money. Yeah. When I turn it down to 1, I don't get the flashing mute logo, and it annoys me. So, yeah, there was no hope of a nationwide smoking ban. I was a cigarette smoker at the time. Cigarettes were part of our culture. We could smoke everywhere. There were, rope stanchions in banks, and on the top of them, they had cigarette ashtrays. Smoking in coffee shops. There was definitely smoking in bars and in restaurants. There was a non-smoking section back in the day, if you believed it, which was pretty much in secondhand smoke range of the smoking section. So, it was dubious, yet it was there as a choice, smoking or non-smoking. That was a 20th century choice. But what happened to smoking in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts was twofold. The price started going up yearly because we voted taxes on cigarettes and voluntarily, and if it was a vice tax basically, and within about 10 years the price of a pack of cigarettes almost doubled. Literally, it went from about $4 to about $9. They're currently about $10. I was a pack a day smoker for about 13 years. Marlboro Reds to Marlboro Lights to Parliament Lights, and then I stopped one day. I made the conscious choice. That was about 2004, 2005, 2004. What happened? Yeah, about 2005, to come to think of it. Yeah. But what happened to get a smoking ban was it started on a local level. It started from town to town and city to city. That you heard reports of this town banning smoking, that town, and public places, and in restaurants, in bars, in coffee shops, and movie theaters, and banks. The public ashtray went away, and slowly, it became statewide, and the state. I'm not sure the legality. Someone out there can correct me if I'm wrong. If there is a statewide ban on smoking in public places, I don't think so. Yet it's a local ordinance, and it's basically every single town and city in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has this smoking ban. And so much so that, I might have to look this up. I should have brought up a window. Screw it. I mean, that's not what my channel's about. Last thing I like to do is to read web pages aloud. That's my least favorite part of other people's stations. I know it bumps up material and time, but yeah, it's just not my thing. But it's fair to say that, in 2021, smoking is pretty passé. That, smokers are fewer and far betweener, and they've been treated like junkies in a way. Go outside and do it. Be shameful and do it in the doorway. Take it outside. No, you can't smoke inside. That's nobody. Even cigarette smokers. It's part of leases, because it's no smoking inside. But I pay for this place. Well, guess what? It's on the lease. Maybe if you were a homeowner, you could smoke all you want in your house. And but yeah, I can't remember the last time I was in a car with a smoker, or I was in a house that somebody was lit up a cigarette and just blew it. But yeah, so that's how change happens. It happens on a local level. And that's how activism should happen. There wasn't this push in movies and in fiction. If you want to see smokers, they're in movies. Yeah. It's not like activism cares about cigarette smoking, which is one of the biggest health hazards in America and the world. Go put your energy there if you want to have the agenda and a message in these, and use our fictions as platforms. welcome to it. Go just eliminate smoking from every movie out there going forward. I mean, I remember hearing a good story about the set of a recent FX show that was set in the 70s called Fosse Vernon, and where the cigarettes were CGI'd in so that the cast didn't have to endanger themselves by smoking cigarettes. What does this have to do with forgiveness? Well, um, I mean, not much, but it's meant to, the whole smoking thing was meant to show things happen on a local level and then they spread. And when all the localities are of a majority or of the same mind, that's when change happens. But getting to modern activism and its shadow, the cancel culture, the consequence culture, and how it intrinsically lacks forgiveness. Why? Because it's not just counter-Christian; it's anti-Christian. I mean, what is Christ's message more than forgiveness? Besides, him being the mediator between the unbodied cosmic God and our lives. I'm not a Christian. I grew up Christian. If I had to define myself, I would be somewhere between a Hindu and a Buddhist. And this is all Star Wars' fault. I was turned on to the Force as a kid, and it was a huge allegory for Eastern spirituality. Oh, this is a good cup of coffee. But forgiveness, we need to be forgiving of other people. And most of all, we need to be forgiving of ourselves. That's how it starts. I learned from my gurus of Eastern spirituality. I did not learn this from the Judeo-Christian Islamic God or these traditions. Although forgiveness is a component of Christianity, how to achieve that forgiveness, I think, it takes exploration, and it takes a lot of more knowledge and a lot more seeking than what's available, than just the Ten Commandments or what you can get at Sunday Mass. Forgiveness comes through self-forgiveness, and it comes through of stopping being judgmental. That begins with you yourself. You stop being so judgmental of yourself, and it also, a side effect of that is that you become more forgiving of yourself. That you're a person, that you're a human being. B-I-ing. Now it's being. Now it's a gerund. It's a verb. You're an action. I like that one. But once you start forgiving yourself, and once you start being less judgmental of yourself, you are more forgiving of others, and you are less judgmental of others. And you see yourself in others, or you embrace the common humanity that is all of us. And so I really, really, truly believe that the modern American activism that has come out of academia in the past 30 years, that started as politically correctness, that has morphed into the W word that I'm trying not to say anymore, that agenda lacks forgiveness. And it's about a superiority of identity, and it's about a superiority of ideological sense, and of also lifestyle. It's judgmental. It is one of the most judgmental things in the sheep. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing, and it expects you to, and it wants power over your behavior. If it was so concerned with humanity, I think it would adopt notions of, you know, it has notions of fairness. And of saving the world, and of saving each other, of making the world a better, more equal place. And they use the word equity, which is, I mean, that's another conversation we'll have at a future date. Today's conversation is about forgiveness. What the modern agenda activism lacked is forgiveness. It's not a. I can't be sold on that. I can't be sold on the fact that, I need to be forgiven. Surely, I mean, even Jesus said, pithily, Pithy, pithy, you without sin, throw the first stone. Go ahead. It's giving you permission. Yet, and it's also asking you a question. All right, go ahead, do it. But you're gonna have to, be stoned yourself, because, that's, you got it coming, or I don't know. It's more of adopting self-forgiveness is the way to a more unity consciousness, is a way to embrace others by not seeing them as other, or as enemy, or as the other side of the aisle, or as ideologically incompatible, or as intellectually inferior, or as uneducated and needs their learning moments, or to be policed of their words and their ideas. I mean, that's very judgmental. You have the best of intentions. Yes. But what's the result? More division, more animosity, and more otherness. I consider myself to be post-masculine, post-feminist, post-racist, post-classist, even though, I know I'm blue-collar, and I'm a man, and in the Western world that succeeds in a flawed capitalistic system. But I'm not sold on socialism. And the whole, we'll get it right this time. I'm sorry, I'm not buying your bullshit. No. There can be a syzygy of the two. And something truly 21st century that we've yet to discover. And something to replace that in the 22nd century as well. I mean, it does not have to be corporate feudalism that's the wolf in the sheep's clothing, that's in this guise of equity consciousness and social justice. I mean, the thing of social justice, it infers punishment. By whom? For whom? With whom? Who's the judge, the jury, and the executioner? Will there be fairness in this trial? What evidence? Will there be a jury of my peers or my superiors? Will it be a drumhead, or will it be something, fair? And who put you in that power, and who told you that you can be in power like that? I mean, I understand that those are power dynamics, and but it lacks forgiveness. The need to have forgiveness in your ideology. If not, then I can respect it. I don't have to accept it. I don't have to like it. I can see that those are your beliefs, and those are those are beliefs that you hold. Not you personally, but the one who does. Such as if you were Jewish or Islamic or even Christian. I mean, those are your beliefs. I respect those beliefs. That's how you live your life. That's the culture of your home. That's how you're raising your children in that tradition. It's the same difference, although it's, atheistic. But to lack forgiveness is truly inhuman. Because there's nothing more flawed than a human. And there's nothing more deserving of forgiveness than a human. There's nothing more capable of error than a human. I mean, do animals make errors? Are they even conscious of that? Do they qualify? I don't think so. Does your dog make mistakes? I don't know. Are they just led by their instinct and led by their need and their nose? Same goes for your cat. I mean, if they violate their training, are they making a conscious error, or are they just being a cat? Humans are different. Do whales make mistakes? Do dolphins make mistakes? Do they have forgiveness? I think animals can have forgiveness. They do. You can see, if you have dogs or even cats, you can see them fight. And then maybe 20 minutes later, you can see them curled in the corner together too. But humans don't, apparently. Humans have lost this ability in the early 21st century, in the social media culture, in the whole leveraging for power, in the whole schema of metrics of likes and dislikes and downvotes and comments on this illusion of this amalgam of pixels and sound and of software. I think that we need to include forgiveness in our lives. And if you lack the intrinsic forgiveness in your heart and in your soul and in your mind, well, that's on you. And it's there for you to rediscover. And it might take adopting faith. I mean, some faith is not a component in the modern academic agenda activism. Why? Well, I believe in simple answers. I believe in Occam's razor, St. William of Ockham, who said that all things being equal, the simplest answer is always usually true. And these are, it's a lot of it stems from having Marxism, which needs an oppressor to be the oppressed, and you need to take the power away from the oppressor in order for the oppressed to share the power. And if you forgave the oppressor, you wouldn't have the oppressed. I mean, therein lies, a spiritual quandary for Marxism. I mean, is forgiveness achievable in Marxism, or is it all about ostracization and gulag and execution and murder and replacing? I don't know. I mean, Marxism, socialism, communism have a very bad track record when it comes to that. Is capitalism forgiving? It can be. I mean, it can be self-correcting, especially with criticism of product. I mean, you change a product, you get customer backlash or customer input of disapproval and the cessation of sales. What happens? Well, we need to go back to our original recipe or formula or story. I mean, again, is there forgiveness in capitalism? I think so. More so, say, than Marxism. I think that a 21st century solution can be beyond both of these 19th, 18th, 19th, and 20th century solutions. I really do. But what do you think? This has been my Sunday sermon. Give me a thumbs up if you like this kind of content. Give me a thumbs down if you didn't. Leave a comment in the comment section. What are your feelings about forgiveness? About being judgmental? Are you an activist? Let me know. Where have you been forgiving? Where is forgiveness in your activism? I mean, for the people that you'd like canceled, or for the people that you think have committed a social sin in your eyes. Does forgiveness exist in your ideology? I'd like to know. I'd like to hear from you. Please continue the conversation in the comments section below. And please, give me a subscribe. I would love to grow my little channel as big as I can to spread something like this Sunday sermon and some brass tacks tenets of faith or spirituality I'm not trying to convert you. What I would like, though, is I'd like everyone to get along. I mean, I grew up on Beatles music, you know, and the intrinsic spiritual message that they learned, you know, when they made the switch from Christian to Hindu. It's in there. It's I might not listen to the Beatles much anymore, but they had a major influence on me. George Harrison remains my favorite Beatle, the quiet one. And so give me a subscribe if you can. I also make, I'm an ordained minister, an amateur theologian. I do the Sunday sermon. I talk about spiritual things and how they can really impact your life, and how having a sense of faith, it doesn't have to be an organized religion, but it's going to help you. I mean, more than therapy and more than ideology and more than an unforgiving system. So yeah, give me a follow. I'm a professional chef. I want to give you cooking hacks of a restaurant level quality so you can make delicious, nutritious, and beautiful food for you to share at your table with your loved ones. Breaking bread with loved ones should never be taken for granted. Even such, we're recovering from Thanksgiving, and we hear all of these stories of ideological fights at the supper table between old style people and new style young people. It sounds like the same old story, but guess what? Value this time we have together, because we don't have much of it. And God bless you. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Namaste. And, you know, even if I don't know you, I do love you. Why? Because I love myself and I have self-respect. So not only do I love you, I respect you. I might not like you or dislike you or favor or unfavor, but you have that cosmic love and you have that cosmic respect, because I've tapped into that. You can too. All right? Thank you so much for tuning in. God bless. Namaste. And have a great day. Cheers.